Going live. It's happening. Alright. Alright. About to turn down the music now. Alright. It's another Fridays on the Edge. Randall, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
Been a week, right?
Another week. It looks like everything is running well on the stream, and we're doing it. So I'm just going to introduce real quick that we have some pretty big announcement today. We've been working towards some things. People have been seeing something called like the Underground Nexus, all that stuff. It sounds cool. It's like a thing where you can learn stuff and stuff. But Randall, what's really happening?
Tell you what's really happening. Pretty exciting, actually, because we built the Nexus, right, and now it's there. But now, Underground is going to host a company, Underground Ops, who is going to deliver a service. So they're going to be an MSP using the Nexus as a service. Cool as that, right?
Oh yeah. How does it feel to be? We worked on it for so long. How does it feel to actually be not just making a thing, but releasing a thing?
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's definitely a lot going on there. You know, you work and you put everything together and you see it, you know, come from idea to, you know, from ideation to production, and here it is, and now somebody's actually going to use it to deliver services. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild to see, start to finish.
It is pretty sweet, because so like we earlier started Cloud Underground, and so Randall was one of the founders of Cloud Underground with us, and we built a cloud company where we kind of teach people also how to build cloud from end to end, so much so that it went from just running a dojo to teach people how cloud works by building a cloud all the way from ground up. We then turned that all the way into, well, we have a cloud now, actually, and we maintain it, and we grow it, and we scale it. And so what we decided to do also is, if we're really trying to teach people how stuff works, and the idea is to be as real world as possible, we launched we're funding and launching a whole company that's hosted by Cloud Underground as the first Cloud Underground hosted company, because Cloud Underground built the Underground Nexus. The Underground Nexus is out. Anyone can use it at this time. It's designed really for business, but you can use it to learn with. Randall, what can you tell us about professional services? I just posted a link that says professional services engineering, because that's what are the roles that people are going to be doing. It's a professional services company. But Randall, what's professional services?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. You got to get the infomercial. You know, professional services is more of, so consultancy. Think of high-end consultancy, but then underneath of it, you have all of the different pieces of a service. So you've got integrations and, you know, installation, the training, there's a lot of components that go to delivering an entire service to somebody. And so what you're looking at is obviously a professional service of delivering all of those pieces one go, right? So you're getting everything professionally delivered to you as a service, and there's a lot of pieces to it. There's a lot of input into it. It's about getting, you know, we want people to have the max profits, and we want to have scalable resources for them, whether that's people or technology, scalable technologies. That's where you make your savings, you know. Kind of the idea behind creating our own cloud was, you know, keeping those cloud costs low. The best thing about Nexus is, though, if you have a service, like you have a cloud provider, the Nexus just scales right into it. Or you can put the Nexus into that cloud. It really is agnostic, which is the best part of Nexus. We've run it on several things. We see somebody build a hip-hop sock, right?
Oh yeah, that's a new thing.
That was awesome.
Cool.
I love seeing that. And we've had so many people pull down the Nexus, you know. It's open source, so you can go get it. But now they're going to deliver a professional service using the Nexus, and then deliver all of these pieces to help, you know, somebody's business, maximize those profits, deliver the products that they want to deliver, and that's kind of really what they're going to be doing.
Absolutely. And speaking of lots of downloads, we have like 400, oh, somewhere over 400 downloads already.
Yes.
And we just launched the
We just
Underground
put it out
Nexus.
there, yeah.
And it's in beta, and it's just getting used. And I guess, in your words, why would an employer care to basically try to figure out how to cut cloud costs? And like, how does that help a company who already has a cloud and things like that? If they're like, oh no, I could just use AWS. Well, you could use AWS, but what are some of the benefits of just trying to have your own resources like this, like the Underground Nexus?
Yeah, so I guess the best part of lowering those costs is if you're not putting your money into infrastructure and things like that, which are we all know is a huge cost, right? Think of what you could do if you could hire people that money instead of putting the infrastructure. It's kind of like buying tires for your car, I think. Like, I hate spending that kind of money on my tires. It doesn't do a whole lot. It's just tires.
Totally.
But, if you're thinking of cloud, if I can lower the cost of my infrastructure, then I can pay more people to actually do things. The more people you have, the more resources you have to deliver that product that you're trying to deliver, right? Faster it goes. That goes towards people. You're creating jobs. You're staving off burnout, right? Burnout's a big thing. More people you got to do something, the less burnout you're going to have. Keeping, I guess that's really the big thing about driving down those costs is if that cost's not going there, then it's going to go towards something that actually furthers your company along. Let's think about this. If it's just the two of us and we start a company and I've got 400 servers, right? We're not going to deliver a whole lot, but hey, we got 400 servers, awesome. But what if we had one server and 500 people working? Now we're getting a whole lot more work done. Same price. I can tell you which one's going to work out a lot better. What good is all the infrastructure if you don't have the people to run it? There's a lot. If I look at AWS, Azure, right? You gotta have skills to run those. So you even have to have people to know how to set all that stuff up. Nexus brings everybody together on one platform, and it's so easy to kind of collaborate and get things done. And you spin it up like that. There's not a huge learning curve. I mean, our CEO does it. What do you?
That's true.
Laura, I know you're watching. I meant that as respectful. That's what.
It's so it's so important too, because like you said something that's really important that I want to emphasize too for those who are catching this. Is why is it important? Because Randall outlined the idea of like collaboration and all that good stuff. Because like on one end, it's cool that it's like lower cost and all this stuff, and it's cool that you can put more money into people. But then what if also not only is it lower cost than alternatives, so you can afford more people, but then it also is designed to allow everyone to have like a one-stop location to collaborate over where it's their resources that don't change. It's, the same troubleshooting for like everyone. It's the same like general things. And these innovations aren't new per se. It's thanks to companies like Microsoft and all those things. But a lot of what kind of brought us to the Underground Nexus is it's taking the new technologies that are out, the latest and greatest that other people are like, oh, I have to learn this new thing, and it does a lot of it for you already so that you don't have to even learn half of the journey. Realistically, it actually has over 1 year's worth of configurations just like right there, and then let's say you have an admin. Maybe that one admin has 500 people that they have to manage, or 200 people, or 20 people. Maybe that's however many people this one person has to manage. Or like if you're using AWS to develop in, as you get more developers, your cloud costs scale up. What if you could then just like have the same like cloud bill not change for, you hire more developers and your cloud bill stays the same, and you can then just pay the developer, and your other costs don't scale up with your developers the same way, and then everyone's in the same place, so it's easier to test things. Be like, hey, can you just try this thing? Oh, it wasn't working. Well, let me make this quick update, and then boom, now 200 people can see it all at the same time, and work with the same update at the same time. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. We talked before about um, cool thing about the Nexus is it did take us a year to put it all together, right? And if we think about what is actually in there, if you're creating a startup, there's what 1 to 2 years of startup inside of the Nexus delivered right to you. It's like, here, skip the first 2 years of putting together your company. It's right here, and just continue going on from year 2, year 3, right? I mean, putting everything together at first is figuring out all of those different cloud pieces that you need, right? And then if you're going to do DevOps on top of that, and all of the different things in delivering all of the many services and products that are out there, that if you look at the cloud native landscape, how many tools are on that landscape for each piece of DevOps or cloud or cloud native pieces? It's like, I mean, just the learning curve on one of those pieces. Now, I'm sure we can mention we use GitLab, right? We posted their professional services. We use that as part of the pipeline that we created with our cloud because it's got so many things in there. Why do I have to learn all these tools if GitLab has them all? Why would I want to do that? We decided to build something that's easier to use, low learning curve, something that delivers the quality that you need right away and quickly. Why would you spend so much time learning all of these tools? A developer's time is it's pretty costly, and you've got him learning tools and tools and tools and tools when he could just be delivering. I guess that's kind of one of the best things about a Nexus delivered service is it's got everything you need to deliver from end to end.
Yep.
It's very low cost. Very low cost.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those things where we even are able to carve out multiple services where we actually have multiple tiers. So we have if you just want to use the Nexus, it's free. There's a reason why we did that, because we want to sort of practice what we preach. And while it does cost us quite a bit of money to make the Nexus free for people who aren't us, I will emphasize it's not free for us, for you to use, but it's free for you to use the Nexus from us. We're not going to charge for that. We're going to keep it free forever, and we can honestly say it's thanks to the dojo members for making that possible, because we had to afford it somehow. So then from there, we do have our tiers from Underground Ops that are services, and you're not going to be getting, if you're getting like a $5,000 seat, you're not going to be working with me. You're going to be working with one of our Underground Ops consultants, and we have a whole group of people who are available to start taking service pretty much as soon as, I guess, next week, really. If someone were to come in and say they want to take service next week before we've fully gotten organized, we're probably ready enough to just help them out and get going, give them the service. We've defined it all. We're just cleaning it up and making it pretty and adding little documents and graphs and things that make it so that we can actually make the services make sense. But then we have a $10,000 service. So you pay $10,000 for 1 year to get service, where you get an account manager, whether you're paying $5,000 for 1 year or $10,000 for 1 year. And I will emphasize that is per developer that's being supported. So it's a managed service provider resource. So ideally, it's a service that's for someone who's an admin who needs developers. So what you could be like a CTO, or you could be like an IT admin, or whoever you are, if you are in need of building out a way to get development assistance on the fly as needed, and then also scale out a way to accommodate a whole bunch of developers. Every single developer that we then support, that's per seat, so $5,000 per developer. But chances are, if your developers are making $180,000 a year, $5,000 to make them dramatically more productive is going to make you way more back in your ROI than paying just a teeny tiny let's be realistic. You can make $500,000 in 3 months selling software. You can pay $5,000 if you're building software and you're running business with that. So it's a very low cost for what it is. And per developer, then $10,000 if you want to have a little more of a robust seat where we include dedicated cloud nodes, a bunch of extra items. And the cloud resources it's all hosted by Cloud Underground and Underground Ops, their servers, all that stuff. The Underground Nexus is kind of like Cloud Underground's AWS. Amazon has AWS, Cloud Underground has Underground Nexus. So Underground Nexus is like AWS, it's our platform. It's a different kind of cloud. You can actually host it in AWS and Google Cloud Platform and Azure, or one of the above, or on-prem locally, wherever you want to host it. That's kind of the joy of the Underground Nexus. Is it is an abstracted cloud. You could call it an edge cloud, just basically meaning that it's the same wherever you put it. It's the same in GCP, Google Cloud Platform, as it is in AWS, as it is in Azure, or on your desk on a Raspberry Pi, or on your laptop. It works the same way no matter where you're using the Nexus, where you're hosting the Nexus. The Nexus is the cloud that gives you choice for your cloud resources. So it's up to you where and how, what you want to do with that. And one of the benefits of getting a managed service provider seat, you're buying an Underground Ops, consultant, professional services consultant from Underground Ops, is you get someone who's going to help you make critical decisions on your infrastructure so that it's easier to scale. And then if you need assistance, then if they have to do additional engineering beyond just account management, then it's $100 an hour to get development from your consultant. And because we are a whole managed service provider, if your consultant, why a service instead of just hiring an employee? If our consultant can't do the work, the consultant has a whole team around us. We have we run the DevSecOps dojo, and basically, if they don't have the skills to do a $100 an hour task, someone else on our team does. And then that brings us to the enterprise service. I'll talk a little more about the pricing, but before we get into what does it cost to get the enterprise service, because Randall is a little more of the enterprise captain. Randall, what exactly is this enterprise service? We'll talk more about it later on, so it's just light details. This is just a little bit of a preview. We're not getting too serious yet, but yeah.
So I guess the enterprise would be getting a dedicated consultant of so think of consultant, developer, somebody who knows the Nexus very well, but is always going to be there with you, for the time that you have them. So think of an entire year or years or however, and they're fully there, ready to help you manage, build out, migrate, whatever you got to do. And then behind them, we said, is the entire team that we have available to us, and so we can manage all of those services for them, and then really can be more catered towards what their needs are, because we are going to be there and we can build out new things for them, and a lot of people are going to have requests and things they want to do things a little different. We can kind of cater to that and help them with that. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you're instead of, in this instance, think of what a developer costs, or in this instance, think of what a professional services person costs, between the ranges of 100 to 500,000 a year. That's kind of what that boils down to. And you can get a whole entire team behind you. But we have the different tiers, but the enterprise would be like, I just need somebody dedicated with me all the time to be there by my side to run this whole thing, and here we are, and we're here to back you, and deliver everything that we have to deliver, basically.
Yeah, it's just like Randall said, it's like you have a whole team, so it's like, if you have an employee, if they quit, that's a little challenging. But, as Randall outlined, it's like you have a whole team. So if someone quits, well, they have a whole team. So, yeah, we do provide turnover protection, which is probably the most valuable thing that comes out of the whole thing, because, for the cost of, well, you could pay $500,000 a year to, say, our service, or $500,000 a year to, say, a company like Optiv. There's nothing wrong with Optiv. I've done work with Optiv. There's some great people at Optiv. Companies like Optiv, they existed long before some of these new technologies and innovations existed, And they have some great services. They have some ways for you to do certain things. But one of the benefits that we provide is you're not paying for infrastructure. You're not paying for like whatever, like they have to charge more so that they still get margins. And so if we're getting paid $500,000 a year to provide services, you're actually getting a lot more labor out of us because our infrastructure costs are so insanely low. And so then, like, one of the challenges of any development team is your developers are like keepers of knowledge. And if you have, say, like a really high profile consultant or someone who's like a principal engineer and they built out critical infrastructure and then all of a sudden they're gone, well, then you have this long journey to figure out, like, what did they do, or how did they do it, or what's going on, or how can we, now we got to hire someone else, depending, and then what if you hire someone new and then that person's not even any good? We vet our own people, and we have a dedicated process that we go through to make sure, like, is this person who's being assigned to manage your services for your company, are they going to be able to deliver? Are they going to be able to provide you what you need? And so by doing that, it's kind of like we're also a built-in recruiter because we do our own recruiting. And we do our own training internally, too. We both recruit our own people, and we train our own people, and we recruit people who we train. So, and then we'll also train your people as part of the service, too, because that's one of the benefits of one of the things, like, you bring in our people. If you're not paying all that money for infrastructure and all that stuff, it makes it easier for us, once again, to also be more available to provide training and things like that. And, if there's not enough of us, if one of us is not enough and you're paying us like $200,000 a year, instead of paying $200,000 a year to one employee, that's a lot of bandwidth. And managed service providers, that's nothing new. So it's managed service provider life. But the difference is, there is a lot of power that we're able to provide for the capital and resources that other managed service providers just basically have a lot more overhead, and it's just true. And then the other thing is, because we created our very own technology and we run our very own cloud, we do have a significant amount of control over how that works. And I started building cloud long ago at this point. I guess really kind of started in 2008, and then in 2011 I got to work in more conventional like data centers. I've been doing like engineering and all this stuff, and then Randall has been working in the enterprise space at scale, working on technologies and development for like over 20 years, which is a long time. And so you put all that together, and there's a lot of knowledge in the architectures that we've built, and like by having our own platform, it gives us a lot more capacity to really tailor what we're doing like as close to our customers' needs as humanly possible, while also being faster than most out there to deliver outcomes, while also being able to make sure that we're providing state-of-the-art best architectures, like the most modern, like cutting-edge things, because everything we've built is stuff that pretty much has only existed really since like even Kubernetes wasn't around that long. Like cloud native wasn't around in like the year 2000. You don't have. I don't even think. Well, yeah, it's all so new. It's all so new.
To mention, I mean, we're a DevSecOps shop, so the amount of security layers we built into everything as we, looked into building our own cloud, it was like, wow, there's a lot of things that you have to protect and think about. We did that. We thought about a lot of things, and we tested a lot of things to make sure. So there is layers upon layers upon layers. You can't just deliver a service these days. It has to be a secure service, and that's something we took a lot of time with trying to figure out and do it the right way from the beginning. Everybody should be doing anyway, right?
Most problems that people can avoid, you have to avoid them from day one at your company, not when it happens. Otherwise, you run into whatever problem. But yeah, we focus on helping people do things like in a way up front that is going to allow you to not have to like pump the brakes to go and deal with disasters down the road. So, DevSecOps, it's a neat thing. One of the other cool things is if you are someone who's looking for work or looking to make an income. I guess this is the last part, but maybe the most important part, especially to those who are part of the Facebook group, part of the dojo. This does mean that we are about to have actual jobs, and some of you who are part of the DevSecOps dojo, like Jermaine, and I need to. Well, yeah, Antoinette also announced publicly that she's joined the team. So we have some consultants already, which is a big deal because that means that they're going to be able to go and put their skills to the test and really kind of like show people how it works and prove something for themselves and make a living and make a good living at that, to make the kind of living that allows folks, as long as they do the work, they'll be able to, run their own companies if that's what they want to do with the money. We don't, what they do with their money is what they do with their money. You want to start a company, you can go buy a giant house, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Obviously they got to work for it, but we do high ticket so that way people can just focus on just getting customers and do consulting. And maybe consulting isn't your long game, but you got to start somewhere when you're trying to be an entrepreneur. And one of the things we always focused on in the past was like, how do we help people make a living? And one of the challenges, especially if you're trying to do like cloud and all this stuff, is you got to come up with ways to afford like to at least $10,000 a month on your cloud bill. And so by us doing all of that for you, that's like $10,000 of cloud bills a month that you don't have to pay just to like start making a living. You could kind of think of it as like what Airbnb and Uber do, but with cloud. So it's like if you get Airbnb and you want to make a living because maybe you got a big house, or maybe you have multiple properties, or maybe you just have like just a spare room and that's all you got, but you want to rent it out and make some money with it. Airbnb lets you do that. You got a room, you got a spare house, you got a spare whatever. Then you choose the prices and things like that, and people can come over and receive services and come stay at a place. We do it instead of with houses, it's with cloud, except for it's your cloud. So Airbnb, it's your house, and Underground Ops, it's your cloud. Maybe that's like a good way to put it, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
And it's like, what does Airbnb take off of someone? It's like if you use Airbnb, you don't have to engineer the website, you don't have to know how to engineer an app, you don't have to engineer the funnel to get the customers. You're like immediately just jacked into a pipeline. And why are we focusing on cloud? Because other services, it's kind of hard to kind of help people make a living if we can't help people charge enough to make a proper living to where they're making like the kind of money they'd make at a normal 9 to 5, but doing their own thing. And there aren't a lot of markets that let you do that. Like even pen testing, you can't really. You have this long journey where you're gonna be broke for a long time trying to become a pen tester, starting your own company, or IT or whatever. This lets you just kind of get right to it, and there's a big point, or I guess a big value to that. So we're trying to use that to make it easier for people to have build jobs. It could be a side income, it could be a primary income, but it's really especially for people who are either A, I want to learn with a side gig, or B, I probably want to start a company someday. The reason why those two categories is if you don't have to work that much, like 10 hours a week working in our format, once we start generating jobs out of this, 10 hours a week or so is enough to generally pay most bills in I guess at least in the United States. Other countries, it depends on the strength of the US dollar. Some countries it's a little more expensive. But either way, we are also global, so we also pay in different global currencies, and that's something that we'll talk about at a later time. That's not all fleshed out, but right now we're only going to work with the 2 consultants we have getting started. Well, we have 3 total, and then 4. We have four consultants, I guess. Either way, it doesn't really matter how many. We have consultants. We're going to start with the consultants we have for now to really build out the details for how all of it works, so that people can know, well, what does that look like? How does that work? So if you sit tight long enough, we will eventually open the floodgates for anyone to just come in and start doing business and start building a customer profile, build out a book of business. And if it's a side job, you're gonna make probably as on 10 hours a week, you can make as much as whatever you're making at your day job. And then if you decide you don't like your day job one day, you can probably leave. Alternatively, if you're trying to like start a company, we're trying to come up with other ways for people to start like really advanced companies without VC dollars, like without venture capital and stuff like that, or getting a ton of loans, because it's so expensive that even if you pay off the loans, you probably have to start on like I had to start on like somewhere north of $100,000 in funding in my first like year, even 6 months. I don't know. It is what it is. But if our goal is like, what if you didn't need 6 figures to start a company like this? What if you could just start? You just get a Raspberry Pi. Start there. Get a Raspberry Pi and start a company. And then when you can afford to scale up to AWS, you could do that if you want. When you can afford to scale up to Azure, you could do that if you want. I'm going to be real blunt. I know some people who pay like well north of $500,000 a year on their cloud bill. It's not that uncommon. It's not that unheard of. But you have to get to the point of affording bills like that somehow, some way. So we're putting in a big effort to make it much more affordable to where you don't need $2 million to start. It's actually about, that sounds extreme maybe, but go do your research and you will find that it's about $2 to $3 million to kind of try to launch a company that does an alternative similar thing. I will say that as we get into the market's going to get saturated at some point, and it's always like this with things. When it's new, that's when you can make the most money. It's still probably going to be a good viable way for people to make a living. So over the years, we're going to have to keep coming up with ways to make sure that people, can still make competitive pay and stuff like that. So we've been thinking about all those things, but nonetheless, it's an incredible way to make a whole lot of money. But also like command your own life, command your own future, start a company without a VC dollar, bootstrap. Anyways, what are your thoughts about all that, Randall, knowing that you did the painful bootstrap process and it costs thousands of dollars?
Bootstrap, it's not for everyone. But I'll tell you that if you can do it, which we did, then all of a sudden you don't have bills to pay back. You don't, not. It's almost like going to college, kind of getting VC money, right? Because you have a debt right away that needs to be paid back. And bootstrapping is a different way to go. I think it could be slower, it could be faster. It depends on who you have. I feel like we did it the right way, and we were able to put the resources towards what we needed to get it to roll the right way. And look, here we are. What, a year later, a year and a half? Well, since Cloud Underground, I know that the technology itself has been growing for years, right? Because you've kind of evolved this over many years. But as a company, bootstrapped, here we are a year later, and we're already rolling out a new company that's delivering services using our technology. So we're already hosting a company on the technology that we just bootstrapped. Here it is, and I've seen some. Let's just even just what people have done with the open source Nexus itself. I see the LinkedIn posts all the time of people posting what they've done with it. It's just wild what you can do with it. It really is endless. I guess the other plug is, if this stuff is exciting to you, and this lifestyle of being able to just work on what you want to work on and get these side gigs, or maybe even turn it into a business. That's why we have the dojo. The dojo is free. You can come learn. You can join us. It is a very welcoming community. The skill range in there varies from end to end, but they're very quick to help you learn. And it's the best way to learn the Nexus is get involved, learn how these technologies work, and then you can yourself jump in and grab these, roles that come open and job boards and things like that we're kind of working through. Is that once you see how this all works, and if you have ideas, it's really easy for you to roll out your own company with it. You can't talk about everything, but I've seen some crazy things people have done. It's so cool to see it all come together like this.
It is super cool, and that kind of reminds me something that I should outline. Is I think because people are like, oh, I can't keep up with you, Nato. I can't keep up with you, Nato. I think even just having Randall here hopefully helps people realize a little more and more and more and more that there are a lot of people around Cloud Underground at this point. Like it's like what my work is like a fraction of the big picture at this point. Like I spend my days just helping out like a few businesses that I help out, and then I'm like, okay, that's the end of my day. Meanwhile, it's like we got one member over here building some new revision for the Nexus, and I'm like, whoa, I better get on that. And then it's like, and then there's someone else, because like I gotta go and figure out, work with the team and be like, okay, who's gonna help us all get this updated into the thing. And then it's like we have someone else over here discovering a new way to apply something, or you have someone else over here, like it's there's so many people working on this stuff now that I can't even keep track of it. Like, I mean, because people are like, I can't keep up with you. It's like, do you think I can keep up with it? Randall, can you keep up with it? Maybe that's the question I should ask.
That's what I was going to say is, we laughed because we said at this point, our dojo members can actually train us because they seem to know a lot more about the technologies than we do because, like you said, we're not all just building this whole thing by ourselves.
Yeah.
It's had a lot of input. A lot of people have worked on this, and it is kind of a relief that you can hand something off to someone and be like, "Hey, we're trying to figure that. Oh, here it is. Oh, sweet, there it is. We just put it in there, and boom, there you go." And that's, I guess that's the power of community, is when you have a passionate group who wants to help each other with the technology skills that they seem to possess. Man, you can do so much. And here it is.
It's one of those things that's so alien because I talked to a number of people in a given month. It's one of those things that if I try to tell people like, oh, here's the thing that'll be easier, all you have to do is just like spend a week on just kind of understanding it, and then you'll be able to do significantly more forever more like immediately, and like so much so that even more than a whole year's worth of development. I'm serious. It sounds like exaggerated or made up, but it's really not. Like, you can talk to different people who've been a little more like directly involved with seeing it grow, like Ken Underhill and folks, because there's different folks who've seen what it does. And one of the realities of it is, if someone's like, "Oh, we should build this big thing," if you're using something other than the Nexus, then it's going to take years to do that. Yes, years. But the odd reality is, if you take a week to kind of get an idea of how Nexus works, you can accomplish things that otherwise take 1 to 2 years to accomplish within maybe like a week or two, because it has so much already built out into it that you just have to go and kind of understand the templating. And if you already know your use case, you already know what you're trying to do, boom, you just get right to it, and you can just start doing stuff. As soon as we started releasing it, like, people started doing all kinds of stuff with it. We had one person make a hip hop sock. We got someone else over here making. A lot of people like making socks. I can see why. They are fun. It's neat stuff. Security. People pen testing with it. We got folks building straight up data centers with it already. We got folks with portable data centers, because you can actually have a portable data center and make it even modular where you have multiple data centers. We got people doing that already. And then we get messages all the time of like little things that we could do to improve it. So we do try to focus on, anytime we add something to the code base, we try to give credit to everyone who's contributing. So at some point we will focus on doing like a special and just like talking about like the especially some of these like core contributors lately. Like, people are like, how do you do so much? I don't. I let people know like what's going on, and even before I have a chance to ask for help, the next thing I know, like, people from all over the world are just like, and I'm just like, whoa, trying to catch it all. I'm just trying to keep up. I understand. It's good. And it's worth every minute of it too, because I feel like after completing the Nexus, I learned more after having completed the Nexus and releasing it and launching it than I think I've ever learned, because it's so user friendly that, well, for example, we have over 400 downloads already. Think about that. It's been, I think, maybe a month or less. We get at least 100 downloads a week right now. and we haven't even really marketed it that much. Like we're starting to market it, but even this right here, this stream right here, we're talking like inside the Facebook group. Why? It's already overwhelming. I get so much attention off of this thing that like I'm only one person. Randall's only one person. We're only like however many of us there are. Like the core team's only like 5 people. And then the other people coming into underground ops, that's like 7, 8, 9. We're approaching like 10 people there. It's just so much that we just gotta we don't need more attention. We'll get more attention than we know what to do with already. So we're preparing ourselves for getting landslides of information. If you ever thought that you were overwhelmed by us, we are overwhelmed by the world. No, it's good. It's worth everything. It really is. It's amazing. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. Kind of to your point about if you sit down and learn the Nexus, just take a week and look at what it can really do, right? I think what's going to happen is be for everyone, right? That's just the nature of anything you create. It's not for everyone, but if you understand what it can do, those people are going to thrive. Those are the people that are taking the tool and doing things we never thought of with it yet, right? I guess that's kind of a lot of the fun is we had our own goals, right? You had your own goals when you started years ago when you had this idea to build, and our own goals since then and things we wanted to do with it. Now you have this tool and you hand it to someone and then you watch them do things that you never thought about with it and you're like, wow. I think that's the most fun to me, and the most powerful thing is seeing what it can do in other people's hands that have different ideas than you do. We talk about inclusion and equality and all these things these days. Watch what everybody can do with it differently than what you thought about, right? That's the power of different people's minds and talents and seeing what they can do.
Yeah,
that is a fun part of it for me.
and like of all I agree. It's like of all the experienced folks that have touched it, even not experienced folks who are like trying to learn stuff, all of them who picked up the Nexus are like, whoa, I actually decided to spend, like, this is easier to learn than AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud platforms. But the even bigger, crazier catch is that you can use it with all of those platforms and even use it with all of those platforms together. So if you learn Nexus, you can work with Azure, you can work with Google Cloud Platform, you can work with AWS, you can work with like whatever.
DigitalOcean, Linode, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cloud is cloud. Some of them just do it better than others, and some have more services than others. That's what it boils down to. Some are more costly than others. Some will give you a lot of credits. I just saw the other day Azure was offering like $100,000 in credits if you started your own company or something crazy with it. I was like, well, that's a good deal. And then I thought, oh, well, that's how you kind of get in there. But then later on, because you used $100,000 in credits, now you've spending about $500,000 to $1 million a year in cloud costs probably. But you know, each cloud is different. Our cloud is different. That was the whole point. We created a cloud, our own cloud, with our own technologies, and we host it. And now somebody finds it so intriguing that they're going to run services from it. I mean, that's just wild.
It's amazing. It is pretty darn cool because it's like I don't know. You like see those movies and stuff. Like I think about like the people who made like Facebook and stuff. And it's not to say that like who knows how big our company will grow, but it's like to actually make something that isn't actually out there. People say this statement of like any idea you have is not a new idea. Well, maybe it's not a new idea, but we actually made it. And I think that's the thing that like a lot of business owners like maybe run into is like a lot of people will talk about ideas and talk about something that sounds cool and like, oh, what if, or well, we actually like made it and it actually works and it's actually globally available and we can actually deliver it to millions of people today on like our own means that we've built for ourselves. And it's something that we can scale so much that we can even scale other people's companies with it and not just our own, that to me is the most mind-blowing part is like, you know, you've mastered scale when you can not only scale your company, but now you can scale as many people's companies as you want. You're like, oh my goodness. And like, we just begun. So I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. I just need people. And it's happening. And that's where we're at.
It will get crazy. It will get crazy. I think it'll be limited for a while, right?
Yeah,
We'll
in the
have to kind of limit it, what we can get, because it'll be overwhelming at some point when people realize what it can actually do. So we kind of have to limit how
yeah.
we, you know, kind of start to deliver it in the beginning.
Yep. Like
You know about traffic and how it can be crushing at times.
yeah, yeah, exactly right. So like, we're gonna have like things like videos in the freemium version because the other reality is, uh, once people start paying for the service, like we're only going to be able to accommodate so many people in the beginning, and it's free also so that you can use it yourself without us if you need to. So if we're just like completely sold out and we're completely booked up or whatever, you can probably even just, I mean, we're the type that just thinks the more the merrier. I don't care if you start another company that just like copycats our fabric. Come to the dojo, we'll even tell you the whole model. We'll tell you end to end, like, how do you make money doing it? How do you deliver the service? How do you distribute it? How do you set it all up? The difference is if you're doing it through us, then there's a lot of like overhead costs that we pay for. The equivalent is anywhere from like $10,000 to $20,000 a month is what you need to kind of pull off the equivalent. And as a business owner, that, I mean, maybe that sounds a lot to a lot of people because I know that's like more. Some people don't even make that much in a month. We are a company, so keep that in mind. When you're a company, $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month in bills isn't that unheard of, and it's not that crazy. But you will run into to try to do it without going through our means. It is about $10,000 a month to do it yourself. But if you just wait while we continue to like scale out our services themselves as well, because our service scaling means scaling people, and our technology scales faster than people scale, and that's just because even I need time to learn, even Randall needs time to learn, everyone needs time to learn. And when we have a technology that's this scalable, then the thing that we have to pump the brakes on is to just make sure that the people are getting what they need first, because there's so much done for you that it's like, you can even try it now. If you just go and check out the Nexus and just pull it, you can watch the videos that Laura did, because Laura's not an engineer at all. Laura can't do any of the engineering stuff. I can't do what Laura can do. All the website stuff, all those things, all of our design, all of our like sales collection. She does like our financial stuff. Like Laura is basically a lawyer, a CFO, a CEO, and all these other things. But what she's not is she's not an engineer. You can't be everything. If you're a doctor, you're probably not also a lawyer. If you're a lawyer, probably not also a software engineer, and you might be. But only enough time in a day. So because of that, we ran into even Laura, who has no time beyond trying to do. She's already doing so much. Just boom, already set up the Nexus twice and started using it multiple times. And hey, Jermaine. And like it's just really interesting to see that even someone who we would normally have to teach significantly more, where we'd have to train them for like literally a good. It's one thing to say that it takes a year to build what the Nexus is, but what if you have to then also teach someone? Then that could be anywhere, because think about how long college takes. It's like college is like a 4-year process. That could be anywhere from like 2 to 4 years for someone to pick up the concepts just to get to the point to where the Nexus starts you out at. The Nexus starts you at a certain point where there's significantly less to learn. And so it does mean that you can also then, because you're going to be learning other things, you can do that much more. I know that some people are like, well, but I want a challenge. Well, there's always a challenge. The Nexus isn't taking challenges away from you. There's that statement of work smarter, not harder. You could work harder and try to build your own version of the Nexus. Or you could just take the Nexus. I don't care if you modify it. It's open source. You can go and tailor it if you want. You can make your own version of it if you want. I don't care. That's what it's there for. If you want to use our hosting, you got to pay for that. If you want to use our people, you got to pay our people. So you got to pay our people and you got to pay for our servers. But if you're not using our servers and you're not using our people, just use it. Do whatever you want with it. Have fun with it. Take the code. But yeah, so anyways, I think that covers most of our like core things that we wanted to kind of get into, because it's most certainly quite something. And And keep an eye out also for Jermaine, just because soon Jermaine is going to be our front runner for picking up services and seats and basically signing folks up. So if you are looking to go and work with one of our DevSecOps Dojo members, who is the principal engineer of Underground Ops, you will meet Jermaine. You'll also meet Antoinette at some point as well, because we're here to help. And so, like I said, as a result, use Nexus, you can do a lot more. You can accomplish a lot more, and then everything you're learning is probably complicated anyways, so why not just chop off half of the journey so that you can just get straight to what you really want to do and get closer to your goals, closer to your outcomes, faster everything, and not because you're working harder, because you're using templates. We've all heard of templates. Amazing. This time it's a data center template. It's a copy paste data center. It's just a thing these days, and it scales however you can scale a Raspberry Pi to a giant server, then to AW. Anyways, my mind is falling apart. It's so crazy. Like
You mentioned data centers. I was just going to say the fact that you worked in data centers is why we now have a copy paste data center, because you know the pain points of what data centers are. You know where the costs are. Hey, copy paste, here you go. You have your own data center on whatever you want. It's platform agnostic, it's hardware agnostic. It will literally pretty much run on anything you want.
It's so true. And maybe one last thing that I do say is I think that there are a lot of folks out there who, because I get this feedback often. They're like, "Oh, Nato, you must really love doing the like infrastructure parts of it." I actually don't. I'm good at it, but it's not something I enjoy doing. I don't like building pipelines. Not really. I don't enjoy it. I'm really good at it. I don't enjoy doing the hardware construction and data centers. I'm good enough at it, but I really hate it. We actually have someone who Jordan does all of our bare metal, and it's like the best thing ever because I don't have to touch. I love it. I love not having to touch the data center servers and not configure them. I've done it enough. I don't want to do it again. And for me, I want to just sit and make code, like applications. I want to make applications. I want to make like experiences. I just want to make experiences. And for me, having to go and do the same journey for every company, what's the same journey for every cloud company? We got to configure your infrastructure. And then what is the next thing? They're like, we got to make sure it's compliant. And so then what they do is they spend who knows how long building the infrastructure, then who knows how long making sure the infrastructure is compliant. What if we could skip that? Because I've done it so many times that after 10 years of doing that over and over and over and over again, it's like going to a dark site, time to set up some data centers. Going to a new small company, time to set up a data center for them. Working at a managed service provider where I'm helping them build their data center while their customers have their own data centers, and I'm going to go down on site and do professional services consulting to build a data center for them. Like, you do the same thing over and over. And why do we get human error and misconfigurations? Because even if you're like me who've done it a lot, you get tired of doing it and you try to cut corners, and then people get hacked over it because you're just like, oh, I've done this so much, it's so mundane, I don't want to do this again. And then every time you move to a new company, you got to do the same thing again. Then you go to another guy, same thing. And so for us, it was just kind of like that same thing. I'm like, I want to let this be the last time I ever do this. And so for those who think that I made the Nexus resources and all of that because I love all these things, I love what they allow me to do. But the journey to get to what I love, the Nexus ends the battle so that I can get straight to what I love, so I can skip the stuff I hate. That's maybe something that I've never really talked about too much on stream. Is the Nexus is everything I despise doing in one place, done for me so that I'm not going to touch it again. And when people are like, hey, could you do this thing for me? It's like, if it's in the Nexus, no, I'm not going to do it for you because it's in the Nexus. This is the last time I'm like, and then if people don't want to use it, I'm like, so I built this thing and you're telling me you want to do it the most painful way possible that's going to take up to 2 years. Nah, I ain't gonna do it. Like it increases the risk that your company's going to go out of business. It increases the risk that we're never going to get a product out. It increases the risk that I'm going to hate my life and burn out. It's going to increase I mean, we could go down the list of all the reasons why I despise doing all the things that the Nexus automates. The saying, automate the boring stuff. The Nexus is all the boring stuff that I really despise. Done for you, done for me, done for everyone, done for Randall. Randall, do you like doing that stuff? Maybe you do. I know Jordan does. Some people love it, but I hate it. How about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you hit something there. Is because people sometimes feel like you create something because you love it, or in your case, and what I've learned over time is that think of GitOps, think of DevOps, DevSecOps, right? It's all about automating processes and things. The whole point of developing this was that you hated doing it every time you had to do it. And so what did you do? You automated an entire data center build. Here you go. Now Nato can get on to what he really wants to do, which is other things. This is just a roadblock in his way to getting to his other thing. And it might be your roadblock too. If you just want to go and do this thing over here, but this thing's in your way, which is usually putting infrastructure, getting your data center ready. Oh, here, just spin it up. Now move on to the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's what you know. And you mentioned making mistakes. That's GitOps. That's DevOps. That's the whole reason you automate. Because once you have it working, now you're not making those manual mistakes anymore because you just build it, and there you go. So here's your copy paste data center. Now move on to what you really want to work on. You're right. Some people might find it fun to build all those things, but that's not really what it's for. It's automating something that's really painful to build.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like, it's one of those things I also learned, like in the DevSecOps dojo, I ran into like the parts that I really despised doing. I couldn't get help. Like it was so impossible. I'm like, does anyone want it? And they're like, no. And then someone would be like, yeah, I'll help. And then they'll start poking at it, and then they just slowly go silent. And then I ask them like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I haven't really gotten anywhere. And I know where they're coming from, and maybe they feel guilty. Don't feel guilty if you're that person I'm talking about, or it's more like multiple people at this point, somewhere north of 20 people. So I don't want you to think that you're like isolated.
It's probably me at times.
Yes, you know. Exactly, and I think it's important sometimes for us to sit there and be like, why did something not happen? I think the more important question is, if it didn't happen, how can we make sure that no one ever even has to do it again, or even has to care ever again, especially if it's something that even I don't want to do. And there were times, like, I will say the person who probably did the most suffering for us, like sandpaper to the face, is Jordan, but at least Jordan seems to enjoy... I know there are parts that Jordan doesn't like. Jordan does like all the sandpaper to the face work, so I'm sorry, Jordan. But I do appreciate it because without Jordan, there's so many things that would have never happened. So I want to outline that because like most of the things that I'm just like, Jordan actually, it's funny, we have like really opposite interests. Jordan likes all the things I hate doing, and I like the things that he's not really that into doing. And when you put us together, like we can like, he'll do all the stuff I despise, and I'll do all the stuff that he doesn't do, and then you put it together, and we do like all kinds of stuff, and then you get the nexus, right? So and then Randall is the reason why we even have our entire GitOps pipeline. Basically, Randall single-handedly taught me Git. I don't even know if Randall knew that he was teaching me Git, but yes, you taught me Git.
I had no idea until one day you're like, I don't really know how this works yet. I'm like, what? You build a thing that does all this many things, and you have no idea how that worked? My mind was blown. But that's the power of just knowing certain pieces and then getting to, you know, everybody's got their own thing. When you put it together, here it is.
Absolutely.
Staves off burnout, right?
That's right. So it's like burnout comes from doing things you hate doing, comes from working too much. So what if you can just not work too much and not do a whole bunch of things you don't want to do? Guess what? You're also going to burn out a lot less. What is the Nexus for someone like me? It's an anti-burnout tool, because if I'm not doing what I hate 24/7... And so I will say, anyone who ever asks me to do anything that I built into the Nexus, my answer is always going to be no from now on. Unless you want to use the Nexus, then it's yes, because I'm not going to do it again, because that was the last time I'm ever doing it. And there's literally no reason for me to do it again because we coded it, and I'm not going to do those things again. Just so everyone is well aware of that. So
It's here,
if you,
and if you need professional services around Nexus, here we are, and here it is. We're ready to go.
That's right. That's right. We got you covered. So look out for Jermaine. Look out for Randall. You'll notice that if you are trying to get enterprise service assistance, you're going to be seeing Randall. If you're trying to build out someone who can support, like, say, 5, 10, 20 seats at your company, you're going to be talking to Jermaine. And Jordan, you'll probably talk to Jordan no matter which route you go. Jordan is everywhere, so he's everywhere and nowhere. Same with Laura. Laura and Jordan are like the people who are like always doing something, but you'll like barely ever see. Well, you see Laura more than Jordan, but where is Jordan? He's making things. He's making things. He's probably making things right now. And when he's not making things, he's hopefully catching up on sleep and hopefully going on some vacations sometimes. Actually, Jordan does take breaks, which is really good, which I'm glad, because I don't. Otherwise, he'd probably burn out too, and we can't have that. Because if Jordan burns out, the end of the world will arrive. So, well,
Got our own mad scientist back there.
that's right, we do. So, anyways, I'll say thank you to everyone who has joined the stream. Do you have any closing words, Randall? Since we've covered quite a bit.
Be iterating on what you said. Thanks to everybody. I mean, this is a group effort, and we have a huge group, a huge community behind it. The cloud starts with the Cloud Underground team. Everybody there. Underground Ops is coming. Everybody there. The dojo has been a great place to be for this last year. Watching everybody take ideas and run with them and give their feedback. Feedback is where it's at. When you're building something, you need feedback immediately. We got that instantly. And here's the culmination of all those efforts. So thank you, everybody. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the closing words, we'll let Jermaine have the closing statement, since it's in the comments. The Facebook group is Nato will throw you a project your way that has you looking at your computer with a stank eye. So soon,
Well said.
there will be lots of projects that I will be throwing your way of all the stuff that, whether you're trying to learn it, whether you're trying to make a living, you can get some tasks and some projects, and you'll probably be giving your computer the stank eye. So, thanks, Randall, for joining.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Excellent, and we'll be around, and you will see us. You will see us again. It will happen.
Any questions? Reach out to any of us for sure.
Heck yeah! Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you again sometime.